this year, you have the Seattle Seahawks choosing at number 5 in the NFL draft because they have the Broncos pick in the Russell Wilson deal. That the Broncos are stuck with Russell Wilson, bad contract, older guy, and a disastrous season, and you don't even get the draft pick out of the disaster. It goes to the other team. You have the Detroit Lions, who also came within a sniff of the postseason with the number 6 pick in the NFL draft because they got the Rams pick in the Matthew Stafford deal. Those 2 deals and those 2 picks this year are spooking Woody Johnson as well as Aaron Rodgers' 90% retired comment to where Woody's not letting Joe Douglas pull the trigger on this deal. Now, Woody Johnson is not known as a great owner. There's plenty of Jets fans that have plenty of frustrations with Woody. But in this case, can you blame him? In this case, really, can you blame him? If Woody is saying, yes, we want Aaron Rodgers, and yes, we don't have a fallback plan, but we need some protection if this A is a disaster after 1 year, or B, he retires after 1 year. And I don't blame Woody Johnson. I don't blame him. Apparently what they're saying is, look, we can trade you picks in this year's draft. We'll do that. We can trade you a second-round pick in next year's draft. But what we can't do is sacrifice next year's one, or if he only plays 1 year, not have protection, having sent you picks to get something on the back end. And again, I don't blame Woody. Now, I don't know which team has the longer leash on a game of chicken, because the Packers would like to wait until June 1. If they don't need the picks this year in April, coming up in a couple of weeks, if they don't need the picks in 2 weeks, they can absolutely wait until June 1, June 1st, when they can spread out the dead money hit. So I think that's got to be a conversation that the Packers have had many, many times over and decided what their plan of attack is. Once we get beyond June 1st, okay, and the Packers can then dissipate that cap hit, then it just becomes, well, who needs him out of their life or in their life worse? Is it the Packers who just don't want to deal with the controversy that would be overshadowing Jordan Love, and that the deal still is not done yet? Because once you pass this draft, now it's just all about future draft picks. Or is it the Jets who need him in their facility or need him with their coaches and their wide receivers to get ready for the season? I don't know who has a longer leash there. I would think it's the Packers, because they could just tell him, don't show up to the facility. We don't want you around here. And the Jets are just killing time until they've got to get him in the rotation, get him in the process of becoming a quarterback of their team. But ultimately, I still think it's going to get done because there's motivation on both sides to get it done. But this is one of the great ironies of all time, is it not? And I got to be honest, it's very satisfying. Rodgers played the card of, I'll show you all the cards of my hand. I'll show you all the cards. I'm going to tell you everything. I'm going to be transparent. That's what I would want. That's what I would want. I would want transparency. So I'm going to go to a darkness retreat. When I get out of there, I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to do a 2-hour podcast explaining everything about this retreat. I'm going to go on my hand-picked interviews, platforms, where I know I then hold court. I'm the alpha. I get to tell you my side of things without any pushback. Here's how the story is going to be told. I'm controlling my narrative. This is what clearly has been his MO for a couple of years now. He knows that the spots on Pat McAfee give him a long-form platform to not just talk football. He's wanted to talk about other things. He's actively engaged in conversations with Pat about other things. So it's here's my thoughts on things. Here's what I believe is right. Blah, 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 blah. And in doing so, and I said this how many times in the offseason or during the playoffs, why is Rodgers still doing a weekly spot? His team's not playing football. Every week, Aaron wanted the platform. His team was eliminated from the playoffs in Week 18, but we heard him wild card week, divisional round week, championship game week, the bye week, Super Bowl week. We kept hearing from Aaron time and time again. And then when he came out of the cave, he did another spot to set the record straight that this was decision day. He said, it's not decision day. I've already made my decision. I'm going to be a Jet. I want to be a Jet. Again, Aaron wanted to carve out the narrative. The Packers are screwing me. I don't trust that organization, or at least the management in place right now. The old management was better. I'm the longest tenured Packer. There's been some things that I haven't agreed with. Remember, he told McAfee that, there's been conversations held without me, about me. I'm not too pleased with that. Aaron wanted his platform to get his narrative across. And by doing so, the ego of having to have the platform to get his side across has nipped him in the ass. By being so forthcoming in his mind, so transparent in his mind, he said something stupid enough to hold up everything on this. Now, he's got to convince Woody Johnson, no, I didn't really mean that. But Woody heard it, the Jets heard it, and it spooked them. And I don't blame the Jets at all. Would you trade a 1 and 2 twos or a couple of high draft picks for a guy that you thought was only going to be with you for 17 games? Or would you trade a bunch of high draft picks for a guy that if you end up 3 and 7, you can see him and his interest and conviction start to float away because his mind has already thought about retirement before this? Of course not. Of course that's in the realm of possibility. I don't blame the Jets for being spooked. I do think it's one of the delicious ironies. Aaron wanted the microphone. There was no reason for him to do a weekly spot during the NFL playoffs when his team wasn't playing. He wanted the platform so badly. He wanted to correct or set the record straight in his mind, and by doing so, by gabbing, by ego, by discussing exactly what was going on, it bit him in the ass. Hit me up on Twitter, DA on CBS this morning. It's a Target Demo Friday. Mraz, do you guess that this thing gets done before the NFL draft?
Yes, but I think if it doesn't get done by the NFL draft, I think that is when you start inviting other teams into the picture. But I still think they have to figure out a way. And Woody has every right, and I think you nailed on all of this, but Woody now is also in a position where his fan base is going to crush him if he doesn't get it done. Fans are stupid like I'm stupid, right? I'm a fan and I'm stupid. Fans want Aaron Rodgers now. They were told by Aaron Rodgers' own mouth that he wanted to be a Jet. If they don't find a way to do it, the fans are going to completely revolt on an owner they already hate. And I think because of that, Woody could play this as smart as he wants. He's ultimately going to have to figure out a way to get this deal done before the draft.
Right. The Jets need him so badly that they have to, at some point, acquiesce, you would think, even if it makes them a little uncomfortable. Because what do you think is the alternative? I've heard some Jets fans say, well, then you pivot to Lamar Jackson. But I don't have any sense that the Jets are just using Lamar Jackson as their plan B, because if that was the case, I think they'd already be engaged with the Ravens. I think Lamar would become your plan A. You get Lamar Jackson for 5 years, 6 years, whatever, versus maybe one from Aaron Rodgers. I would think that'd be their plan A if they were really interested.
It probably should be their plan A, but at the same time, they can't walk away with nothing. They can't go with Tim Boyle, Pat Boyle, Tom Doyle, and Zach Wilson. So, they could act not interested now, then they could sell, that was always a good plan to have. But It's also kind of disrespectful to Lamar Jackson, too, right? To turn around and say, yeah, Lamar, we're going to give you all this money when the Jets have been so openly flirting. I mean, honestly, if Woody Johnson feels this way, too, we can't have Joe Douglas going on that Boomer and Geo show either telling fans it will get done, too. And the Jets are just crushing themselves at every turn with this leverage, and the fan base knows it, and the fan base expects this now. It's like expecting turkey on Thanksgiving. You know you're going to have it. When you know you're going to have Aaron Rodgers in uniform, you better figure out a way to get it done.